It was close to midnight when I noticed how quiet the building had become. Normally, the walls carried little sounds from the other units: someone's television leaking can laughter through the plaster, a neighbor in the hallway shuffling grocery bags, water rushing through the pipes when the guy above me took his nightly shower. Tonight there was none of that. Just the faint hum of my refrigerator and the ticking of the clock over the stove. I was sprawled on the couch with my laptop balanced on my legs, a half-finished cup of tea going cold on the coffee table. I'd planned to stay up late, maybe read, maybe watch something trashy until I was tired enough to sleep without staring at the ceiling for hours. I wasn't thinking about my neighbors at all. Then I heard it. At first it was so faint I thought it was part of the movie trailer I had playing, a garbled, human sound, deep enough that it could have been mistaken for static or an actor mumbling off-screen. But the trailer ended, and the noise was still there. A muffled cry. I paused the video, sat still, listened. It came again, just a little louder this time. A sound you can only mistake for something else if you want to. The human voice, strained, but with the shape of words I couldn't make out. And it was coming from below me. My stomach tightened. The unit below mine belonged to a man named Mr. Weaver. I'd spoken to him twice since moving in 8 months ago. He was older, maybe late 60s, and the kind of neighbor who didn't like conversation beyond good morning and thank you when you held the door for him. I'd never heard him raise his voice. I sat there for a full minute, debating whether to just ignore it. Then I heard it again, sharper now. Definitely a scream. Muffled like it was being forced through fabric, but desperate. I stood up before I'd decided what to do. My instinct was to go knock, but I hesitated at my own door, hand on the knob. What exactly was I going to say? "Hi, I think I just heard you screaming. Is everything okay?" I stayed there, frozen, when a new sound reached me. Footsteps. Not from the hallway, from inside the unit below mine. Heavy, uneven steps, moving quickly across the floor. Then, nothing. I should have called the police right then, but part of me didn't want to get involved in something that might be nothing. I told myself maybe it was the TV, or a phone call. 5 minutes passed. I'd almost convinced myself I'd imagined it when it came again. Louder this time. The scream wasn't muffled now. It was sharp enough that it seemed to cut through the walls and up through the soles of my feet. I swore under my breath, grabbed my phone, and cracked open my apartment door. The hallway was dim, only one overhead light was working, and smelled faintly of dust and something metallic. My door faced the stairwell, and I could see down to the landing between floors. It was empty. I stepped out and leaned over the railing to listen. Nothing. I could feel my pulse in my throat as I started down the stairs. The carpet was worn thin in the center, my bare feet pressing into the grooves of years' worth of footsteps. I reached the first-floor hallway and turned toward Weaver's apartment. His door was closed. No light leaked from underneath. I knocked lightly, then a little harder. "Mr. Weaver." Silence. I knocked again, longer this time. "Are you okay?" That's when I heard it, a slow, deliberate step from inside. Then another, each one making the floorboards creak. The steps stopped right on the other side of the door. "Mr. Weaver," I said again, softer now. Something brushed against the inside of the door, a faint scraping sound, like fingertips dragging lightly over wood. I stepped back instinctively. The scraping stopped. I waited, my mouth dry, until I heard the faintest whisper. I couldn't tell if it was words or just breath, but it was close. Too close. I turned and went back upstairs faster than I'd meant to, forcing myself not to run. My door closed behind me with a soft click, and I locked it. I stood there, listening. For a while, nothing. Then, just as I was about to sit back down, a sound came from the hallway outside my apartment. Slow footsteps, coming up the stairs. They reached the landing. Paused. Then, kept going. I stayed perfectly still until they faded. I didn't sleep that night. Every small sound in the building made me tense. I told myself I'd call the building manager in the morning, maybe even the police, just to check. But morning came, and everything looked ordinary. No noise from below. I was almost able to write it off. Almost. That evening, as I was heating water for tea, I heard it again. Not from below this time. From directly outside my apartment door. I froze, kettle in hand, the sound slicing through the ordinary hum of the kitchen like a blade. A low, human noise, not quite a scream this time, but urgent, frantic, impossible to mistake for anything else, and it was right outside my door. The thin walls made it hard to tell exactly what I was hearing, but I could feel it, somehow, as if the vibration of the voice was coming through the air in the apartment itself. I set the kettle down quietly and stepped toward the door. I didn't open it. I just put my ear to the wood. Silence. I waited for my own breathing to slow, pressing closer until my forehead touched the door. There it was again, softer now, but the same voice. Not Weaver's. Not anyone I recognized. A woman's voice. I couldn't make out the words, but there was a rhythm to them, like pleading. Then, just as my hand touched the knob without me thinking about it, the sound cut off. I waited, straining to hear any sign of retreat, footsteps, the creak of the stairs, but there was nothing. I backed away. Locked the deadbolt. Checked it twice. The kettle clicked off behind me, making me flinch. I poured the water anyway, hands trembling, and sat on the couch with the mug cradled between my palms, staring at the door like it might move. For 20 minutes, nothing happened. The quiet started to feel thick, almost heavy. Then, from somewhere in the walls, or maybe the floor, came the slow, dragging sound of something heavy being moved. It seemed to start below me, then shift toward the stairwell, then, up. I told myself I was imagining it. But the thud came next, sharp, deliberate, against the wall just behind where I sat today. I shot up, my tea sloshing over my hand, scalding my skin. The pain hardly registered. I grabbed my phone, dialing 911 before I even decided to. The operator's voice was calm, professional. I told her someone might be in the building, that I'd heard screams last night and tonight, and now something was outside my apartment. She asked if I could see them. I said no, that I wasn't going to open the door. She told me to stay on the line, that officers were being dispatched. As she spoke, I heard it again, the faint scrape of fingers on wood. This time, from my bedroom door. I turned toward it slowly. The bedroom door was open. I could see into the dark space beyond. No one was there. The sound came again. From the other side. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my voice steady for the operator. "Someone's inside," I whispered. "Can you leave the apartment?" she asked. I didn't answer. I was already moving toward the front door, the phone pressed to my ear, the other hand gripping the deadbolt. It didn't turn. I stared at it, stupidly trying again and again. The lock was in place, but it wouldn't budge. The operator kept asking if I was safe, if I could get to a window. My windows faced the alley, 3 stories up, no fire escape. The bedroom door creaked. Just slightly, like weight was shifting on the other side. I backed into the kitchen, every muscle tight, eyes on that doorway. Something moved in the shadows. Not much, just enough for me to know I wasn't alone. I tried to think. There was another exit, a door in the back of the building near the laundry room. I'd have to go into the hall to reach it. The hall. I forced myself forward, turning the deadbolt hard. This time it gave, and the door opened with a groan that sounded too loud in the stillness. The hallway light flickered once, twice, and held. I stepped out. And froze. At the far end of the hall, near the stairwell, stood a figure. Tall. Still. Watching me. I couldn't see his face, but the shape of him was wrong, shoulders hunched slightly forward, head tilted like he was trying to hear something behind me. The bedroom door inside my apartment creaked again. I ran. Not toward the stairs, toward the back, my socked feet sliding on the thin carpet. I didn't look back, didn't check if he was following, just kept moving until I reached the service door. It was locked. The sound of footsteps came from behind me. Slow. Unhurried. I turned, pressing myself to the cold metal of the door. The hallway was empty. I don't remember going back to my apartment, only that I ended up inside, door locked, lights on, clutching the phone while the operator told me help was minutes away. I didn't hear the bedroom door again. By the time the police arrived, the apartment below mine was empty. No sign of Weaver. No sign of anyone in my place, either. They told me it was probably nothing. That maybe I'd heard the pipes, or a neighbor moving furniture. I almost believed them. Until I went to make tea the next night, and found a single fingernail, torn, jagged, human, sitting on the counter by the kettle.